Greetings and salutations, listener. It is I, Eric J. Chucci, joined as always by the boy.
Hey.
You did a weird thing last time, and it shook me, so I was expecting a weird thing again this time, and it didn't. It's not here.
I like to keep you on your toes.
We record this podcast sitting down. This is the Two Nerds Podcast, where we sit.
Let's get hard!
That was like kind of a low energy. What was the name of that old Saturday Night Live sketch that the sweaty balls comes from?
Oh, yeah, like NPR, public radio sort of thing.
Yeah, the two specific hosts that were, hello and welcome to this show.
Where we sit.
Where we sit. It was roughly, the joke was that they were very meek or quiet, friendly. I don't know. Hi, guys.
Yo.
I'm going to tell you all a little story. Are you here? Are you ready? You're here for it.
It's not about a man named Jed.
No. Nor about how my life got turned upside down. Except that it actually is. Come to think of it. I got into a shitty sleep trap where I was waking up like 3, 4 in the afternoon. And fuck that. I'd like to start my day at about noonish, give or take an hour. So we went the other way around because going to bed early just meant I slept more hours. And now I'm getting up at like 7 a.m. like a regular person, and I hate it. This has always been the case with me, and I say it a lot, and I'm sure most people don't believe me because it sounds like exactly the kind of thing like a slacker from the 2000s would say. But I'm no good before 11 a.m. I had a whole day. I was up at 7. And, I can look at the facts, the paper trail of my deeds, and know that things occurred. But I have very little memory of them. So, I just took a nap. So you're getting kind of sleepy, me. And that's why we're talking down here on this show that is preceded by such a jazzy tune.
What a fun little story.
Yeah, I ate up a good 2.5 minutes.
Would you like to tell them what we're here to talk about?
Today we're here to talk about my sleep, facts about me. Today we're going to talk about, first and foremost, Sonic the Hedgehog. Maybe some other stuff, probably some other stuff, because there's not...
It's not like a lot to say about Sonic the Hedgehog.
We're going to stretch this into more minutes than it deserves because, spoiler alert for you there, not a literal one. It was a fine film. Jim Carrey was excellent. And we could stop there.
Yeah, pretty much. You don't even need... There's not a spoiler review necessary. It was a good kids movie. It was fun. Cyclops was good. Jim Carrey was on his game.
Ridiculously so.
And there's not a lot that can stop that man when he's on his game.
Yeah.
But we have 30 minutes to fill, so why don't we go into a little more detail?
Yeah, so, y'all remember the Sonic with the teeth? Teeth Sonic?
His weird human teeth and regular-sized legs and feet. And every part of him was bad.
The teeth freeze frame was horrible, and I'm afraid of the power that the internet thinks that has given it. Because I remember the last round of Ninja Turtles movies we had, they liked to make fun of the unmasked Mikey scene. And that was the image of the CGI turtles that was everywhere, not any of the other ones where they look pretty cool. So I feel bad for Teeth Sonic, because otherwise, yeah, it wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad.
He was a horrible little gremlin. You're wrong.
He was a horrible little gremlin, and that's fine. You know what? I'm the one who's talking here. That's fair. This came out of the garbage, and I love it. It is basically my aesthetic, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. We have been so conditioned to accept really shitty interpretations of characters, especially for video game movies, that I saw that and went, all right, they did their best.
But as it turns out, no, they didn't. And when everyone went, this is garbage, this is literally, actually horrifying, he's a horrible little gremlin man. Everybody collectively nodded, and then the studio went back and made the movie again, and good this time. They just made it Sonic the Hedgehog. They just made Sonic the Hedgehog Sonic the Hedgehog. They just made him shaped like Sonic the Hedgehog. Which is what they should have fucking done in the first place. But they went to all the trouble to make the movie twice, so I went to see it out of solidarity and wanting to pay Hollywood and show them that they should do stuff like that. I want to vote with my wallet and make it clear that I will go to see a movie if you're willing to put on that much effort to make it twice to do it better.
Yeah, I mean, like, as much as I don't like the kind of power that's going to give internet people, I say that as an internet person, because I saw what happened when the wrestling community got it with Daniel Bryan, and things have never been the same. But, you know, good on them for, like, actually looking at their audience, and their audience going, okay, you know, fix this, please, now. And they did. And good on the audience for being patient about it when they were like, all right, we will fix it. We are going to have to delay the movie until February. And the fans went, that makes sense. Please take the time to do that.
We would rather you do that than make us watch this.
It also
horrible little gremlin.
Wasn't just the fans, because Sega of Japan went, don't. So, you know, that I'm sure is a pretty big factor into them fixing the Sonic. But still, you could tell that the graphics weren't as polished in some scenes as they might have been, given the, you know, having to remake the CGI parts of the movie again.
Yeah. And I'm sure Gremlin Sonic had more polished graphics in that scene. That's offset by the fact that he would have been in it. So, you know, worth.
You know, yeah, I can't really argue with that very much. It would have been difficult to be charmed by Ben Schwartz's performance as a scary man. A scary little hedgehog boy.
A scary little blue cat demon that looked like it escaped from the Cats remake.
No, it wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't. I'm being unfair. Sonic, at his worst, was never the Cats remake. Or movie. I guess they never had a movie before.
Fucking Garbage Fire fan. Even I have a floor to that shit. And I wanted to see the Cats movie because it looked terrible. It looked the exact kind of terrible that I would walk out of that movie a changed person.
Yeah.
But they took it out of theaters way fast.
On account of it being a mimetic weapon. The movie itself, we're talking a lot around the stuff around the movie, because there's not actually much to say about the movie. It's a fairly paint-by-numbers affair. I have a kind of, like, crack theory, I guess, that they may have changed a lot about the beginning of the movie when they remade the movie. Because I have this theory, because I don't want to live in a world where there is an awful human teeth-having version of all those echidnas at the beginning of the movie. I don't want to be there. I want to be in a world where that's not the case. So I like to think that there's a different beginning to this movie where he isn't in that, where he isn't in the alternate dimension he's in at the beginning of the movie as it ended up. Because then that means there's no footage of horrible human teeth echidnas. And that makes my life better.
You know, you read an article, and I'm sorry I don't have the details to credit it, that it talked about the opening line, the "look at that handsome devil" line, or whatever the fuck he says. And the reflection of horror that casts on the movie with Gremlin Sonic.
Like, I wonder what this handsome devil is doing, and then you're seeing the screen as this... the movie opens with an in media res to the climax, and it freeze frames like, I bet you're wondering how I got in this situation. Yes, it is exactly that cheesy. And the line is, I bet you're wondering what this handsome devil is doing, something, something, something. Or handsome guy or something. The important word is handsome. If that scene had played with terrible Gremlin Sonic, I feel like that would have set a very different tone for the movie.
The one that gives me the fridge horror, that has me looking down at the ground, staring at a pool, in abject terror, is late in the movie. Sonic is unconscious, and a veterinarian is looking him over because they have concerns about his health. And Sonic has been on his own for a long fucking time at this point, and he's got like beat up fucking shoes, which they take off for some reason to give him his new shoes that are the kind that he wears. But the veterinarian makes special point to go, oh, look at his poor little feet.
Oh, no,
with his realistic legs. Like, even at the time, my brain went, what was that scene like originally? I don't like this. I'm getting flashbacks to the Sonic cartoon that was on weekdays as a kid. No, man.
Jaleel White says that's no good.
That's no good. I desperately, and I know they're not going to, but like in my heart of hearts, I want the original cut of this movie on the DVD.
I don't.
I want that hell. I want access to that circle of hell.
You want to be able to dip your head in and go, it's exactly as bad as I thought, and then immediately rip cord out?
I want to be able to dip my head in and go, it's worse! And then cackle as I finish it all.
Oh, that is you. That is up and down, left and right you.
Sometimes you just have to stare into the void and dare it to look at you back.
Why do you never look at me during void?
Exactly. But it's... Fuck, there's not much to say. It's a
kid's movie. It's a fine kid's movie.
About Sonic.
Cyclops and his lady friend put in good kids movie adult acting. There's a funny other lady who has like... the main character, Cyclops. No, I don't remember his actual name. He's the Donut Lord.
Yup.
I knocked that out of my own head.
His last name's Wachowski.
Mike Wachowski. He's the Donut Lord, you son of a bitch. He has a lady friend who they have a very, very positive and supporting relationship that really isn't played for comedy at all, except in that they get along really well and make fun jokes to each other. Like, they don't have the very stereotypical kids movie adult relationship where it is essentially everybody loves Raymond again and we're stuck there until the end of time and entropy kills us all.
It's not Jurassic World. It feels like all of the parental relationships in media I've managed to catch, like that's at all aimed at a young audience, is the family from Jurassic World. That is one sneeze at the wrong time from exploding apart.
Yeah, they get along really well. They actually have some very fun dialogue that I really like that helps establish them both as likable people, which is nice. But they do fine kids movie adult acting. Some of their decisions make no goddamn sense, but they're in a kids movie moving right along. Sonic is just a blast. He is a blast. He is a kid. He is kind of real. He is very realistically like a kid. He acts like a kid.
Yeah, Sonic's a good identification point, and he doesn't do that thing where he's a shit. I mean, like, he is a little bit because he's Sonic, you know, to not be a shit would be to go against his character, but, like...
A certain amount of dickheaditude is inherent in the character of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Right, but, like, he's not... I didn't see anything in the movie that was, like, encouraging young children to be awful. And I find, again, that happens a lot with children's media these days.
Because children want to be awful, and seeing the people they like be awful lets them vicariously live out that fantasy of being just the fucking worst.
I mean, like, I think it's more that, like, media creators want to make something funny, and people being awful is funny.
But he's a kid. He does some annoying shit, but it's, like, realistically annoying.
Yeah.
And this fucking Sonic the Hedgehog movie, at two different points, now granted, I am as an over 30 man... the hormones in my system have changed, and I'm a huge bitch now. But it made me legitimately feel for Sonic on two separate occasions in this damn movie. And that's not something I went into this movie expecting.
I've always been a huge bitch, so it is what it is. It's not like I caught feels from it personally, just because I was detached from the situation. Also, I need to clarify, I said kids' entertainment these days. It wasn't any better when I was a kid.
No, it's just different.
It was worse, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Just wanted to clear that up. But, you know what? Actually, go to the comments section. I don't give a fuck. Get us some views.
Yeah.
Remember when we had all those views from Dallas and Robo? That went well.
Meh.
Jim Carrey, phenomenal.
Best part of the movie.
I wouldn't even say the glue that holds this movie together. He's he is the most of the movie.
He is the rest of the movie that is being held together by glue.
He's good enough that, a couple of times I laughed in spite of myself.
Where, this is a terrible joke, but Jim Carrey is delivering it so well that it's funny anyway. There's a line that's in the trailer, and they spoiled it in the trailer, and it's not funny, and I still laughed.
Yeah. There's an extended dance sequence. You gotta love those.
For no reason. That they never really do. It just happens. It's just an extended dance sequence that happens where he does a dance and runs from a T-Rex.
There's also the fact that the Dr. Eggman, the Dr. Robotnik character, whichever you prefer.
They do both. They make a fun play at doing both, where his name is Dr. Robotnik and Sonic almost exclusively refers to him as Eggman.
He's the exaggerated natural conclusion of every sociopath nerd I knew in high school. So it was kind of startling to go, I know that guy. This villain in a kid's movie, I hung out with him for years. So, that's weirdly nice. Very oddly realistic. Usually the villains in kids' movies have, stupid motivations, I want to skin all the puppies because evil is fun, and I really want a puppy skin coat.
God, when you strip that down, if someone said that in real life, you would get them a psychiatric evaluation.
Well, I mean...
I really want a puppy skin coat is a horrible thing. I've never really interrogated that before.
Also separately, it's not even they're golden retrievers or a really fluffy puppy.
No, they're fucking Dalmatians. They're short hairs.
I really want a coat that's sort of smells like dog and is generally water resistant. I didn't turn off my phone sound. I am the unprofessional vent.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man. It's been a long time. No, it hasn't. I recorded an episode of Final Fantasy where I didn't turn my phone off. But, my phone makes Final Fantasy VI noises, so it wasn't that bad then.
But,
everyone thought Kefka was there for a second.
I don't really know that I have much more to say about Sonic.
We've really stretched out what we have to say, other than just literally describing the plot to you.
Which is not worth the time. There's a fun little cameo at the end. There's two, scenes at the end. One where Dr. Robotnik takes on more of his classical appearance, which I really loved. Again, entirely because Jim Carrey makes that whole scene fucking hilarious. Mm-hmm. And then Tails shows up, which is nice.
I will say this. I think Jim Carrey's performance was command enough that if they make a second Sonic movie, I want him to still be fighting Jim Carrey's Robotnik.
Yeah, I don't want them to do a different villain.
Right.
Does Sonic have other villains?
I don't think so. I mean, Mecha Sonic, you could do a thing with that, or you could draw from some of his expanded universe, but... You
could fight the big rock monster from Sonic 06.
You could fight Sonic 06. Could just be an hour and a half. You could fight
Silver. Just an hour and a half of it's no use.
Yeah, an hour and a half of him chased by a killer whale who wants to eat him. But, in comic book adaptations lately, I'm not one who gets pissed because the villain dies. First of all, we're in the real world. These are actors. Not all of them want to be signed on for 10 movies, or it's a risk to get them back later. Kill a villain. We've got enough.
And so sometimes they're very interesting, cool characters, but, look, at the end of the day, even Chris Evans was eventually just really fucking tired of eating chicken breast. It is what it is, my dude. Sometimes that's the thing animation has over live action, is that the characters are immortal. As long as you can get someone who can follow the character guide to draw the dude, that dude is drawable forever. And if you're doing computer animation, you're just clicking buttons at a certain point.
Once all the setup work is done, yeah.
Yeah. So, live action is what it is. Sometimes that shit has to happen. But I also, Jim Carrey was such an important part of this movie being funny that I would not want to have a sequel where he wasn't.
Honestly, if they release a sequel and there's not some other really big hook and it doesn't have Jim Carrey, I probably won't watch it.
Me neither. They didn't make that one twice, presumably.
We made him shitty again, guys. Come back and tell us to make him good again so that you'll come back to our fucking movie.
No, Sundere Studio, I'm not doing this. This is...
So yeah, there's Sonic. That's 20 minutes. What have you been up to?
Not a wealth of interesting stuff, to be honest. There was the other movie you went to go see. We could talk about that.
Well, yeah, I've got a couple of things I could talk about. I just wanted to open the field.
We both went to see Sonic. It's fine.
Okay.
I have done nothing of interest.
As of earlier today,
Listen to a bunch of other better podcasts.
Of this recording, there's not a better podcast than the Two Nerds podcast. How dare you? How often when you watch the New Day podcast does Xavier Woods' phone go off?
Not no times.
Oh, okay.
But they edit it out. They actually edit.
What about Big E's constant burping? Is that a thing?
I haven't noticed it.
Oh, fuck. What about when you're watching one of those podcasts where they talk about like history and stuff and their heating unit comes on? Is that a problem?
That actually has happened, yes.
Oh, okay, sick. We're doing all right, guys. Yeah, so as of today, I saw Birds of Prey for the second time. I dug it. And I think when the first time I saw it, I went with a couple of friends, and I wasn't so sure of my opinion at the time. I liked it. I laughed a lot. But, like, I could tell it was one of those movies where I hadn't galvanized my opinion yet, and I felt like I enjoyed it more than it deserved at the time. But the longer shit went on, the more I was like, no, I think I really liked that movie. It's not a perfect movie at all. It's not like, I wouldn't even say it's my favorite movie. I mean, it's pretty fucking good. It's the movie I've enjoyed the most in a long time. Just regular enjoyed, not with weird caveats, not with, like even Endgame. I would say Endgame's a better movie by leaps and bounds, but I haven't seen that again. I didn't think I was going to at the time. Not like out of some, bitterness or anything. It's a tour de force.
No, that was an experience,
yeah,
I believe we called it.
You got to go through a lot of movie there. But, I really had fun with it. It reminded me a lot of the movies, the style of movies I watched when I was a kid. Tarantino movies. Kid, I mean teenager. Guy Ritchie films. Cough, snatch, cough, cough. Just that really frenetic, fast-paced, chopped-up storyline. It had a lot of Deadpool flair to it, with Harley narrating. Really fantastic acting. Ewan McGregor is giving a Dr. Robotnik-level performance as Black Mask. I dug it a lot. I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk, because I agree with you, but you're the one with the stronger opinion here.
I haven't seen Birds of Prey. There's a very good reason. Well, no. There's a very petty reason I haven't seen Birds of Prey. I recognize that this is a petty reason. I recognize even that the amount of unbelievable nerd rage butthurt I have about this is entirely unreasonable. I shouldn't be this annoyed. Having said that, why is the character, played by a very talented child actress, I'm sure...
Yeah, she's pretty good.
In the movie, the street pickpocket who eats a diamond, or whatever the hell is the plot.
Yeah, that's the plot.
Why is she named Cassandra Cain? Cassandra Cain is a great character. She has been the victim of a lot of bad storylines and terrible misuse in both the comics and basically every adaptation of her that's been made. I really like the character of Cassandra Cain, the core concept of the martial artist assassin raised from birth to speak only in body language, making her one of the deadliest warriors in a world with, like, Lady Shiva and Batman in it. I love that character. That's a really cool character. You can do a lot with that. That's a really cool person, and it's a really cool dynamic. Someone who is effectively mute. in like some mediums that would be difficult, but in a visual medium like a movie, you can get a lot through with just body language. V from V for Vendetta really gets it across. Hugo Weaving did an excellent job acting with body language, moving past what he said. Mando gets a lot through with body language. He's even very taciturn most of the time. So, why have you taken probably one of my favorite characters in DC Comics these days, or at least the concept of her? She's had a lot of bad storylines in the comics themselves, and done that. Just made a character who is not that person. Just not even close. Not remotely similar, not an adaptation, not the same person at all. It's essentially in name only. They took the name Cassandra Cain and slapped it on a character who happened to be Asian. There are so many more important things about Cassandra Cain than the fact that she's Asian. I'm so unreasonably butthurt about it that I have not seen the movie, and I probably won't see the movie in theaters, because I know that I wouldn't get over it. I would not be able to watch that, I'm sure, very competently acted and entertaining character on the screen without every time she's on the screen being a little bitter, and it would ruin my experience.
I have zero attachment to Cassandra Cain. I missed that part of comics. I was not paying attention. Like, I was off doing something else, probably worrying about Marvel storylines. Not that I've ever been an active comics reader, but, picking up the sugar packets on the internet. So I don't have that kind of cleaving to her. And in fact, like, he explained it to me before I went and saw the movie the first time, twice, because I forgot the first time he explained it, because I have no anchors, so it didn't take.
Perfectly reasonable.
Sure. But after I saw the movie and I looked up who she was originally, because you were kind of vague about it, because you didn't want to accidentally spoil anything.
I didn't want to accidentally spoil anything, and given that I did have spoilers at the time, I didn't want to tell you this really cool thing this character could have been, and have you have like a minor version of what I had, where It's like you keep going, it's a missed opportunity. I wanted you to be able to experience it without that.
Well, I mean, like, so on one hand, I understand why the studio didn't do the character that way, because she basically would have been stepping on Huntress's toes, and they wanted to use Huntress.
Why? Cassandra Cain's way cooler. Best back.
It ties into the storyline a little bit better. It makes a little more sense in that aspect. I mean, she's basically like the second MacGuffin, I guess. Anyway, but in that sense, why use Cassandra Cain?
Yeah, who she could have been? Stephanie Brown.
And you brought that up before I went to see it today. A while ago, we had this conversation. And the whole time I was watching today, I was like, no, they did a good job of this, because it would make sense if the arguing foster family either were her parents or were her adoptive parents after she, got away from her criminal dad, which, no, wait, she's not, spoiler.
Yeah. From everything I know about the movie, that character's name should have been Stephanie Brown. That should be spoiler.
It's a great origin for spoiler.
Great origin for spoiler. Cool origin for her, thing. You can introduce your supervillain dad in the sequel. Harley can be fighting to keep her away from her supervillain dad. Very cool storyline. Yeah, should have been Stephanie Brown. Movie fixed.
Also,
better.
A lot of this movie is a love letter to shit I enjoy. And if you had put Stephanie Brown on the movie on top of everything else, this would have been my breakfast sandwich with the Armenian arm hair and duck eggs. Period.
Like, it's a better movie. If you change this in-name only character's name to Stephanie Brown, that's a better movie. Make that movie. Why did you make this baffling, awful decision?
And you know what? Actually, at the end of the day, I think I have an answer for that question. Both of those questions. DC. Because what does DC do better than fuck up Cassandra Cain and erase Stephanie Brown?
Shit, you may have found the one thing they're as good at as fucking up Cassandra Cain's painfully simple storyline to get right. It's not a hard storyline to fuck up, you guys. Not a hard storyline to not fuck up. And they've done it so many times in so many different iterations of the character, and it happened again. And I'm unreasonably bad about it. Because, here's the trick, everyone I've talked to who's seen this movie says it's really fucking good.
I saw it twice. I can't remember the last time I saw a movie in theaters twice.
Everyone says it's really good. Everyone says Ewan McGregor as Roman Sionis is excellent, and that Margot Robbie is doing a more Harley Quinn this time around, which is what I wanted out of Suicide Squad. I want more Arlene Sorkin. And, like, everyone says it's really good, and I would love to watch it. But I know I would never not be annoyed by that. Every time she's on the screen, and as I understand it, she's a very central and important character, my brain would go, why? Why have you done this? Why have you not made this character? Why have you not made this character? Because Stephanie Brown is the best option, but I have a lot of other options as for who that girl could be that are better and more fitting. It's a long list, you guys.
And I mean, like, I can definitely see how this would be their version of the setup to make Cassandra Cain eventually become the person she eventually becomes in the comics. But don't.
It's not as cool, so I don't care.
I mean, yeah, it's just you could have done this with anybody else. You just could have, and that's kind of a shame.
Which means you've wasted an excellent idea for a character.
Which I have to say as well, because I sympathize with you, but let's be real, DC movies aren't Marvel movies.
Yeah, they'd have fucked it up somehow.
Well, they're gonna reboot this shit in 3 years anyway.
That's fair.
Maybe not 3 years, that's unfair. But, like, how many Batmans have we had in the last decade?
Maybe that's a good way of looking at it. Maybe that's a positive turn I can make. This Cassandra Cain might be the Cesar Romero's Joker of Cassandra Cain's, but it does get the name out there. And maybe the next time they make Cassandra Cain, there's enough people who've heard the name and gone to the comics and gone, but she's way cooler in the comics. Then they have to make a cool version.
The only reason they didn't recast Will Smith is because he made it look like he might come back for a future picture.
Like, I like that turn. I like that turn of this is just this. Again, I'm sure perfectly competent and talented child actress, whose name I don't know.
She's a nephew of Dante Bosco. That's all I remember.
Okay. She's paving the way for later, better versions of this character.
Sure. It's...
Because it's certainly... This isn't getting a sequel. This is not doing well.
Let me dream. It makes sense to have that thought that, oh no, they ruined this character and now this is what we have to deal with.
For the next 10 movies. But they're not Marvel movies. No, you're right.
Yeah.
They're not Marvel movies. Give it like 3 years and then some douchebag who made, I don't know, the fucking American Pie movies is gonna go make like Citizen Kane but starring Cassandra Cain instead.
They're just gonna call it Citizen Kane.
They're gonna call it Batgirl, and it's gonna be about, I don't know, a seamstress in the 1920s who can't talk, and it will be hailed and get Oscars. I'm talking about Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
Oh, I didn't pick that up.
That's why I laid it out. You were clearly very confused.
Thank you. Still haven't seen that one. Saw Birds of Prey twice. Still haven't seen that one.
I'm not... When it's somewhere I don't have to pay money.
Y'all didn't stick around for this whole podcast, I know that, but just leave in the comments all your anger and hate. It sustains me.
Everyone says it's good. The guy who made it's a douche, so I'll wait until I don't have to pay him money to see it.
Joaquin Phoenix is also a douche, and I feel like the world forgot that.
No one forgot. We're just used to it. We just go, oh yeah, he's a douche. Why does he not get shit like Jared Leto got shit? Joaquin Phoenix is a huge douche lord all the time. Why did Jared Leto get dicked on for being a douche while playing the Joker? Joaquin Phoenix, no dicked on. What happened? Why?
Well, because I've heard a lot of stuff. Is it
because he didn't have the funny word on his forehead? Is it? Are you guys really that butthurt about face tattoos?
I've heard a lot of stuff and looked into it a lot because I give a shit. I don't like to support shitty people. And he's like an asshole, Jared Leto.
Yes.
But A lot of reports suggest that maybe the things about his on-set antics were media spin.
Yes.
Or marketing.
Probably.
Not actually a real thing that happened.
No, I'm pretty... Like, the only part of that I believe is not spin is that Will Smith does not like him.
I believe he gave Margot Robbie a rat.
Yeah, that's probably true.
That's a fairly harmless deed that costs all of $20.
But, like... And he's living with Guillermo del Toro now. He's a nice boy. But that's Jared Leto, not the rat. But, like... I believe Will Smith doesn't like him.
I believe Jared Leto lives with Guillermo del Toro.
He was studying for Morbius. He decided to just hang out with a cryptid for a while. I got nothing else. You?
We didn't have anything at the beginning of this podcast, but we got 35 minutes out of it, so good for us.
Everything's better when nerds talk about it.